comfortably on your mat so that you can give yourself a moment just to ground yourself. Maybe appreciating the quality of gravity drawing you towards the earth. Maybe noticing where your body is connecting with the ground. Maybe through your sit bones, your legs. Maybe your hands can rest freely onto your thighs. And just give yourself a moment to experience right now. Most of us spend nearly all of our time up in our heads, thinking about the past, thinking about the future, and we ignore the most apparent time we have, and that's right now. So give yourself this time, give yourself right now to be and sit with yourself, maybe even without any expectation, just appreciation of who and what you are right now, right here. And as we transition now into this current present moment, we'll use our breath to balance ourselves even more. I'd like you to seal your lips so you're breathing through your nose. It's natural that one nostril's slightly more dominant. This is how the nervous system works, moving between the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, but that's something for another conversation. I'd like you to just feel the air moving through your nostrils. And we'll begin our Ujjayi breath by inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 4 together to a count, and using our nose to create that whisper sound of air moving through the internal pipe works. So with the lips sealed, please inhale with me now for a count of 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4. Keep going. 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3. Good. 2, 1. Last one together. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe normally, using and finding your balanced cadence. That's the rhythm of your own breath. Using this slightly longer breath allows you to absorb a little life into your body as you inhale and release a little stress as you exhale. We'll set our intention for the practice together. I'd like you to place your hand on your chest. Your chest should be quite still. And your left hand on your belly. Your belly should be moving with your breath. Good. May this practice heal and strengthen your body and your mind. May this practice heal and strengthen your body and your mind. Good. Release your hands from your chest and let's come to a standing forward fold. A really beautiful posture to adopt, especially if you've been running this morning. Have your your feet roughly hips distance apart and bow forward from your hips to allow the crown of your head to reach closer to the earth. Let go. Smile to yourself as you lengthen inside and through your spine, pressing your sit bones a little higher to the sky and allowing the crown of your head to dangle downwards. Maybe you can take your right hand and just place it on your left bicep and then place your left hand comfortably in the crook of your right elbow and use the weight of your arms, your shoulders and your head to lengthen through your spine and go on a little journey through your own body. Notice how the posture encourages a lengthening of your hamstrings and a lengthening through the back of your knees, through your calf muscles. Maybe you press a little bit more weight into your toes and then even out the weight through the 4 corners of your feet. And then notice a stretch through your glutes, your bum cheeks, and how gravity is allowing you to stretch through your low back, your middle back, in between your shoulder blades, and then down through the shoulders and the crown of the head.
Nice long stretch. Maybe you feel comfortable straightening your knees a little bit, or maybe you feel comfortable bending your knees a little more so you can release some of the strain through your low back. You may even wish to rest your rib cage on your thighs and then return to your breath. And as you allow the breath to soften your muscles in this posture, I'd like you to gently tease your navel in towards your lumbar spine, just engaging through your core. And notice how this gives you a little bit more space in the forward fold. Maybe you're comfortable taking a little swish to the left and to the right now, or maybe your body is telling you just to stay still. Listen to your body. It's a skill to be developed, to listen to your body. Let go of the thoughts and the planning mind. Good. One more long breath in this releasing posture, giving the spinal cord time to decompress. As we grow and experience more years, we compress through the spine a little more. As we move through our lives, put more pressure on the lower discs. When we run, we tend to increase the shock pressure of the pressure on the low discs. And this posture, and one of the reasons we linger here for so long, gives your spine a chance to decompress, take some of the pressure out of the spinal vertebra. Those bones will naturally wear with time. Of course, if this posture causes you any discomfort at all, you can bring your knees to the ground and take it easy. If you're still with me, release your hands towards the ground and we'll take a giant step back with the left foot to the back of the mat. Just a big step out back and come into your pyramid pose. So you've gently opened up through your hamstrings, and now the pyramid pose, which is two straightish legs. I say straightish because your right leg may not want to be straight. Your right knee might want to bend a little bit, in which case let it bend. And you can rest your hands on the floor or wherever is comfortable. And see if you can get a nice stretch through the back of your right hamstring and right calf. Maybe you float your right toes off the floor to deepen this. Maybe you don't. Maybe you bend your right knee a little. I need you to listen to your body before you listen to me. Use me like a guide. Use your body as the vehicle. Good. From here, rotate to the left side of your mat. The left side of your mat coming into a wide-legged forward fold. Maybe your hands can reach towards your knees, your calves, your ankles, perhaps beyond your feet. Maybe the crown of your head can reach towards the ground as you now get a stretch not only through the back line of your body, but also through your inner thighs. They call this one runner's release. I'll let you work out why. Good. When you're ready, just inhale so you can rest onto your hands, and we'll stretch through the inner right thigh. So bend your left knee and come into a side lunge. Looks a little like this. Just opening up through the inner thighs. Whatever range is comfortable for you is the right range to go to. Take a breath in and then exhale back into your wide-legged forward fold and rotate all the way around back to your pyramid pose. So your right leg's at the front of the mat. You're going to take a breath in and exhale, drop your left knee onto the floor, coming into a nice long runner's lunge, a really nice long runner's lunge. Feel your hips opening up. Now, if it's comfortable, you'll keep your hands on the floor for this breath, or if it's comfortable, you can inhale your hands up towards the sky and take a deeper stretch through the front line of your left hip and chest. And if you reached upwards, press your hands back onto the floor now and breathe out to find another pyramid pose and stretch out through that right hamstring and puff up your upper back. Make use of the posture. Good. Inhale to drop your left knee onto the floor again and let your hips open. And maybe this time, and you might want to, by the way, roll over your mat. It can pad out the knee, make it a bit more comfortable. You might want to this time inhale both hands up towards the sky with me and press your palms together and open up through the front of your left hip. So there's a really big muscle across the front of your left hip. It's called rectus femoris. It's one of the quadriceps. one of the big muscles used to lift your leg when you take a step to run or walk. Now, I think my leg weighs around about 3.5 stone. I think so. And my hip flexors are responsible for lifting 3.5, nearly 4 stone every time I take a step. That's a lot of strength to use, a lot of contraction. So this posture is allowing those big muscles to stretch out again and find fluidity and range of motion. Good. Maybe you can keep that cadence of breath moving through your body and keep your belly drawn in just to stay strong through the core. Nice. Bring your hands back onto the floor and step your knees back. So your knees are now, your right foot, sorry. Your knees are roughly 90 degrees. And we're going to take the stretch from the front of the hip to the outside of the hip. By placing your right hand on your right thigh and floating your left hand up, try and keep the left elbow up and over the left shoulder. So you're staying in what's called the frontal plane. If I drop into the sagittal plane, looks like this. This is leaning forwards. I want you to stay in a frontal plane. So it's a sideways stretch. How deep you come is up to you. Don't overdo it. But you're looking to take a stretch through the left side of your body, the outer left hip and the IT band. That's the big muscle that runs along the outside of your left thigh. And I'd like you to focus on drawing your breath through your nose into your lungs so you can expand through your left rib cage and get a really beautiful full range stretch through the left side of your torso, left hip, left thigh. Good. For one more breath all the way in. It's good to stay for the exhale and then use your breath to draw your hands all the way back up. A little prayer towards the skies. But then bring your hands back through your heart center and place your hands on your knees. So what we're going to do now is try and lift the frontal hip joints up. When we rotate the pelvis, looks a bit like this. By lifting the frontal hip joints up, we press the spine outwards and we take the insertion point for the deeper hip flexors, iliacus and psoas, to be stretched around the front of the hip bone. So lift your frontal hip joints, arch your back backwards, and if there's space, press the crown of your head forward. So what I'm looking for is this. Please don't collapse forward. The aim here is to stretch the hip flexor muscles across the front of the hip bone. It's a deeper stretch than rectus femoris, going deeper into the deeper core muscles. You'll find secondary stretches through your back because you're arching your back. A little contraction through your core because you're lifting your frontal hip bones. All these isometric contractions working together to strengthen through your body whilst lengthening the deeper hip flexor muscle. Good, one more long breath in. If you really focus your breath, you can always use the exhale to contribute to the relaxation and lengthening of the target muscles. Good. When you're ready, release yourself from the posture and go ahead and place both your hands on the floor in line with your right foot. And let your right shoulder just touch the inside of your right knee or just above it. And then when you're ready, begin to walk your hands forwards so you can slide your right shoulder and elbow down the inside of your right shin, reaching your elbows towards the ground. For some of you, you'll touch the ground. You'll notice my elbows don't touch the ground because, well, I reach range on the target muscle, which is my inner right thigh, before my elbows touch the ground. What's important is I've reached the range and I'm stretching that little groin muscle on the inside of my right thigh, which I hope you are too. It's the target area for this posture. It's one of the little control muscles used in hip flexion. Very hard to stretch this one unless you come into a posture like this one. There are some other even more tricky ones. Normally this muscle doesn't get stretched naturally because not many of us find this position in our normal lives. Good, one more breath in here. Always using the long, gentle exhale to soften the muscles inside. It's like a volume button we have. Long, gentle exhale, turning down the stress. Letting go of tension. Good. Gently press your hands into the ground and tuck your left foot. And exhale into a downward facing dog. How perfect your downward facing dog? Not a problem as long as it doesn't hurt you. I'd like you to float your right leg over the back of your left leg and push the ball of your right foot in towards the bottom left corner of your mat. And then begin to take some weight out of your left foot. Now, for some of you, you might be able to float your left foot off the ground. That's fine. If you don't, if that's not comfortable, then don't. I want you to gauge how much stretch you can feel in your right calf and right Achilles tendon, and just gear in how much weight you want to press into that right Achilles and right calf to stretch. Both gastrocnemius and soleus muscles in the right calf, getting a nice good stretch all the way through to the Achilles tendon. One more long breath in. And gently float that right foot all the way back onto the ground and inhale your left foot to the sky. I'm going to turn to the other side of the mat so what's going on is a little clearer for you, but you don't need to. Exhale to step your left foot to the top of the mat and straighten through both your legs and see if you can come into pyramid pose, this time on the other side. So you're stretching out through your left leg. So the back of your left leg should get a really good stretch here. Depending how comfortable you are with this stretch, play with drawing your left hip back and pulling your right hip forward. If your left knee is bent, go ahead and bend it as much as you need to, but see if you can straighten through your left knee a little. And maybe you can float your left toes off the floor and get a really nice stretch through the back of your left leg. So those big muscles, the glutes on the left bum cheek, those long hamstrings are hopefully lengthening hamstrings. One of the goals of this practice is to give you longer, stronger hamstrings. If you're a runner, you'll naturally have strong but short hamstrings. This is very normal and very needed. But of course, the more you run, the more you strengthen those hamstrings and shorten them, the more pressure you put on your posture because your hamstrings are short. And although they're strong, the loss of range of movement impacts on your posture. So we're trying to reduce this. And if, of course, you sit for long periods of time, your hamstrings can get short and weak. So let's give them a chance to recover. Beautiful. From here, I've rambled long enough. Rotate to the right edge of your mat this time, coming into another wide-legged forward fold. And reach your hands down past your knees, maybe your calves. Maybe you can reach to your feet or beyond your feet. And allow the crown of your head towards the ground. Coming into runner's relief the second time. Getting a nice stretch through the inner thighs, getting ready for that deeper stretch we've already done on the right leg, pectineus on the left leg coming up. So this is the warm-up stretch. For that funny little stretch we did. Good, gently inhale to lift your trunk and place your hands underneath your shoulders so that you've got a little control here. And we'll come into a side lunge on the other side. So bend your right knee, keep your left leg straight, and get a really nice stretch through the inner left thigh. You can place your hands on the ground and support yourself. If you've got super strong legs, maybe you take your hands off the floor, but that's not really what this is for. I just want you to get a really nice stretch. Good work. I can just about see you on the tiny thumbnails on my screen. All of you getting in there, and I hope you're listening to your body. It's more important than what I say. Awesome. Gently come on back to a forward fold and then rotate all the way back to your pyramid pose so that your left leg is out in front of you at the top of the mat and your right leg is out behind you at the back of the mat. Let your breath leave your lungs, and when your lungs are empty, find that point, and as you begin to inhale, drop your right knee onto the floor and come into a really nice, long, generous runner's lunge. Long, 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 generous. So you can open up through your hips. And just like last time, you can keep your hands on the floor for this one, or maybe you're ready to inhale both hands up towards the sky and take that stretch up beyond your hip through the front of your core, and you can feel it through your chest and your arms. It almost radiates from the elbows all the way through the front of your body, front of your hip, down to your right knee. If your hands are on the floor, then be good to yourself and just keep breathing and allow your hips to open consciously, as much as is comfortable. Wherever you come to is fine. I happen to be in my full range, but if I hit full range at this point and keep my hands on the floor, then that's fine too. It doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is how it feels inside. So let it feel right. Use your range of movements to open up through your body. Good. Gently exhale your hands back onto the floor and straighten through your legs. Come back into a pyramid pose. Nice little stretch again through the left leg. And then inhale the right knee onto the floor. And maybe this time you're ready to come with me and float the hands up. Maybe you're not. Maybe you keep the hands on the floor. Or maybe you rest your hands on your knees as you allow yourself to open through the target area. So this big set of muscles on the right leg this time. The ones that do the lifting. 3.5 stone. Let me just work that out. So if that's 3.5 stone, 3.5, that's 7 stone in my legs. Probably more than that. 7 stone in my legs would mean half my weight's in my legs, and I don't think that's the case. I think more of the weight's in my legs. So my legs probably 4 stone each. 1, 4, 8, more than half my weight. Yeah, that's probably right. So you start calculating that in your own body. You'll figure out what your hip flexors are lifting every time you take a step. A lot of power there. Let's stretch it out. One more long breath. And then when you're ready, gently float your hands back onto the ground and move your knees so that your knees are at 90 degrees. And we'll take that stretch through the frontal plane, outer right side this time. So make sure that right knee's comfortable. If it's shouting at you to put some padding under it, roll over your mat, or do something to soften it, make it comfortable. And then place your left hand on your left thigh and inhale your right hand in a nice big arch up and over your head to get that stretch through the right side of your body. Yeah. That's where I figure out I should have a bigger t-shirt, otherwise I'm showing everybody belly through the gaps. I hope you don't mind. For your part, you're at home, no one can see you, so you can use your breath to open up through the inside of your right rib cage and use the breath to press out through the radius of the right side of your body, broadening through the arch, comfortably lengthening to stretch the muscles that bind your ribs, your hips, and the outside of your right thigh. Secondary stretches all over. One more long breath in. And then gently come on up. Place both hands together and exhale your hands through your heart space. And we'll take that stretch into pectinis on the left side. Forgive me, not pectinis on the left side. We'll take the stretch into our deeper hip flexor first. So place both your hands onto your left knee and see if you can lift your frontal hip joints again. Lifting the frontal hip joints, take the stretch deeper inside your right hip flexor, those big muscles that lift however much weight you carry. The actual number's not important, but I think you get the message. Those big muscles, your hip flexors, carry so much, we take them for granted. Take one step forward, they do all that work for us. We need to do a little something for the muscles every now and again. Give them good range of movement. Longer, stronger muscles is the goal. Short, strong muscles are okay, but will affect posture. Short, weak muscles are okay, but will affect posture even more. Long, strong muscles, full range of movement. That's what we're aiming for. Good, gently release yourself from this stretch and then place both your hands in line with your left foot so that your left shoulder is just inside your left shin. And then exhale to walk your hands forward and drop your elbows towards the floor. Once again, within your own range of movement. Being continuously super aware of what your body's telling you. Your body will speak to you all the time. That's why I always recommend never do yoga with any kind of painkillers inside you. Ibuprofen, paracetamol, whatever it is that you may have chosen in the past, unless a doctor is specifically telling you to do so, please, my warm-hearted recommendation is never, ever take any painkillers before doing yoga or during a yoga class, because the painkillers will stop you listening to your body, it shuts off the messages, and that's when we can do deep harm. I know this from very personal experience. Good, one more long breath in as you stretch through pectineus on the inner left thigh. That's your target area, the inner left thigh. Getting that unusual but oh so welcome stretch. The inner left thigh muscle, pectineus, is used in hip flexion too. It's a smaller muscle that goes across the inside of the left thigh, but it is used to control what happens when you lift your leg. So it smoothens out the gait, along with sartorius, which is another one. Good, from here, push your hands into the ground and straighten up through your right leg and gently step back into a downward facing dog. And float your left foot over the back of your right leg and press the ball of your left foot in towards the bottom right corner of your mat. Now I'm being super careful with my body here. I'm only just touching the ball of my left foot onto the ground. Most of the weight is traveling through my right foot because I need to be super careful with my left ankle at the moment. Always the case with you. How you choose to move into the posture is your choice. How you listen to your body is your choice. How you practice, always your choice. Maybe you can take this off the mat too. In daily life, how you live is your choice. How you react is your choice. What happens around you, that's what's happening around you, but your reactions, how you conduct yourself is your choice. I'm not saying that we don't sometimes get triggered. I know I do. But our practice has a deeper message for us that we can take into our real life if we allow it to. Good, gently float your left foot all the way back and come back into your downward facing dog. And then exhale to place your knees on the ground. We're coming in for a little rest here as we shift from the lower body to the upper body. So I'd like you to simply lie onto your belly comfortably, releasing. Now I'm going to lie down here with you too. And I'd like you to give yourself permission to shut your eyes for just a couple of moments. You don't have to, of course. It's your choice. But maybe you choose to close your eyes and take a little journey through your body. Maybe starting at your toes to relax your feet and all the bones inside your foot. And then soften through your ankles and feel a warmth through your calves as you relax those big muscles as well. Release through the shin bones and up into the knees, and maybe soften through your thighs. You've done a lot of work to stretch open through your hamstrings. Let go through your quadriceps and your hips, and let your hips soften. I'm going to come back to the hips a little later. Maybe now you can just melt your belly area and your heart area and your lungs and your shoulders, and relax through your arms, all the way, shoulders, elbows, wrists, through your fingertips. And wherever your head is resting, just relax your face, your neck, your ears, eyes, cheeks, forehead, and allow the whole of your scalp to soften. Maybe even feel a relaxation moving through each and every hair on your head. And let the relaxation move to just beyond the physical perimeters of your body. Good, so in a moment we're going to stretch out through the upper arm. Reason being,
When we run, we use our arms so much to counterbalance. Same when we walk. When we sit at desks, we tend to hunch forward and compact into our chest area. Tighten up through the shoulders. So I'd like you to start with your left arm and place your left elbow just wide of your left shoulder with a 90-degree angle in your left elbow, a bit like I'm doing now to show you. And I can't do this with you. I can't rest my cheek onto the floor because I roll onto the mic, but I'd like you to rest your cheek and your head onto the floor. So your left cheek, left head is on the floor. And then bring your right hand underneath your right shoulder and use it to push your right shoulder away from the ground and lift your right hip up off the ground and rotate to open up through your left chest muscle. Now your right leg may touch the floor, it may not. It might rest onto a block or a cushion or a bit of furniture or the wall or anything that's around you. Maybe Zoe, you can rest your right foot onto Paul's hips. They're near enough. But wherever you are, allow yourself to stretch through your left chest muscles. So the whole of the assembly of the left chest gets a really nice stretch. The part of your chest that contracts and shortens when you hunch yourself over a desk or a laptop gets stretched. Those muscles that you use to counterbalance your body when you run, contracting and releasing through the chest to keep the body upright, they get stretched. If you're finding this too strong, you can straighten through your left arm. This will reduce the intensity of the posture. But we're only here for a couple of more stretches, a couple of more breaths, and you can probably feel this secondary stretch moving through the outer right hip as well. Good. One more long, gentle breath. And then gently lower your right hip and right shoulder back onto the ground. We're just going to take a little rebound rest between this side and the opposite side, so you can absorb the benefits of the deeper fascial stretch that you've had just now. It's best to let the left side of the body just sit still whilst we rest, unless it's uncomfortable. Now for this next one, I'm going to wander up to the camera and just see if I can notice what you're doing. Just make sure that you're all doing roughly the right thing. For some of you, I won't be able to see you because the camera's facing the wrong way or it's too high or whatever. But I'll talk you through the opening. It's just the same as the other side. So place your right elbow in line with your right shoulder and then bend your right elbow through 90 degrees. And allow the palm of your right hand to press into the ground and draw your left hand underneath your left shoulder. Steady yourself and then use your left hand to lift your left shoulder away from the ground. Your right cheek is resting on the floor. Lifting your left shoulder away from the ground and your left hip away from the ground and getting a really nice stretch through the right chest muscle. The larger pec muscles getting stretched. If you're noticing any discomfort through the deltoid, that's the muscle on top of the shoulder, it may be that your elbow is a bit too low down towards your hips. If you either lift your elbow a little higher or straighten through your elbow, you'll reduce some of the intensity in the shoulder, and that might be necessary if your body is asking for it. Otherwise, find the range and settle into it, and notice your breath as it softens your body. Letting go, finding that fuller range of movement opening through the chest, so that when you come to stand upright, you can stand up straight rather than having this hunched forward effect that we have from tight chest muscles. We come into the yoga classes, finding Tadasana is not always easy for everyone. It can be a challenge to open up through the shoulders and lift up through the crown of the head, especially if the chest muscles are short and contracting you forward. I know I suffered from that for many years when I started yoga. I used to spend my life in the gym. lifting barbells on my back, doing bench press, and it made my chest muscles very tight. It took me years to find openness and a stronger, longer posture. Take one more long breath in, appreciating how long it takes your body to open up and change. And then gently exhale to lower your left shoulder back onto the ground. Left hip can rest onto the ground, and we'll come back into that gentle rebound posture as we let the chest reset. Secondary stretch through the left hip, softening onto the ground and letting the ground carry us. Right? So tension usually presents itself as muscles that stay contracted when we don't know about it. Every now and again, we can trust the ground and gravity to take all of the weight and let those tense muscles that we're unaware of just let go. Just breathing through it, softening out, letting go, being free, but being present in this moment. Good, well done, yogis. We'll start moving a little back into the hips. So come into a downward facing dog from wherever you are. Just find a comfortable way. So find your way up into downward facing dog. And then inhale your right leg up towards the sky, finding sort of a three-legged dog, but don't worry about it too much. What we're doing is contracting through the right bum cheek to switch that muscle on. And then we'll exhale to bend the right knee and draw the right knee in towards the chest. Push the ground away, 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 and then step the right foot comfortably between the hands. You're in a long lunge now. I'd like you to soften your left knee onto the floor and feel the opening through your left thigh. Now, if you wish, you can begin to take your right hand and push your right knee outwards. You'll find a stretch through the inner right thigh as well. If that feels good, do it. If it doesn't, don't do it. Now, whether your knee is pressed out or not, I'd like you to reach your right hand forwards and then inhale to open up all the way through 180 degrees and reach your right hand towards back of the mat. You'll get some really nice secondary stretches across the chest and the hips. And if you want to go a little deeper, maybe you bend your left knee and get a hold of your left foot. Maybe you don't. It's up to you. Don't go too deep. Just go as much as you feel you can, coming into twisted thigh stretch to open up through the hips. And all around, spiraling around the transverse plane of the spine. Be soft, be kind, and that's how you'll go deeper for one more breath in this pose. And then gently, if you're holding your left foot, you can release it. Otherwise, just walk your right hand all the way back to the front of the mat. And place both hands on the floor. And we'll set up for half pigeon. Now, it may be the case that you prefer to use a modification for half pigeon. If that's the case, please come onto your back. Otherwise, you can walk your right foot towards your left wrist and soften your right knee behind your right wrist. Notice what's going on with your body. If there's any pain in your knee, come onto your back and bend your left knee and place your right ankle on your left knee and draw your left knee into your chest. Otherwise, come on with me. Maybe you inhale both hands towards the sky, getting this big stretch in the left thigh. Maybe you don't if it's not comfortable. But exhale to walk your hands forwards and melt your heart in towards the ground and see if you can allow yourself to open through your right butt cheek. Maybe you grab a book or a pillow or a cushion and place it under your forehead so there's something to rest onto. Maybe you just rest your forehead onto the ground. Whatever's comfortable for you. That big muscles, that set of muscles, the glutes, getting a nice stretch. They're the power muscles that push us, propel us forward when we take a step, right? So, take a step forward with the left leg, the right glutes press us forward once the left hand or left quadriceps lift the leg. And these muscles working together, this beautiful symphony that is the movement of the human body. Way too complex for our simple minds to understand. But the intelligence of the body does such a wonderful job. Every now and again, we can help it a little with our practice. Good, one more long breath in. Then gently walk your hands back underneath your shoulders and lift your heart up nice and high.
And go ahead and sit your weight down through your right sit bone or onto a block. And just helicopter your left leg all the way around until it passes your right knee. Now, it might be the case that you need to sit onto a pillow or a book or a block. It might be the case that you need to straighten up through your right leg, give yourself a little more range. And we're getting ready for our twists. So lengthen through your spine. I want you to come through the transverse plane, not the sagittal plane, and place your left hand behind your hips onto the ground and let both hips connect with the floor. Temptation to lift the left hip. And then inhale your right hand up towards the sky and reach up. Feel your fingertips get closer to the ceiling or the sky or whatever it is that's above you. And take a breath in, and as you exhale, draw your right elbow to the top of your left knee. Now, the modification with this is that you can wrap your arm around your left knee, but I don't recommend it. What tends to happen is we flop forward when we do this. If you can get your right elbow on top of your left knee, and it encourages the spine to lengthen, and that's what we want, a long spine. So inhale, wherever you came to lengthen through your spine, and then exhale to rotate your left shoulder towards the back of the room. So getting a really nice stretch through the left side of your body. Yeah. Now, your belly may be floppy here. I'd like you to draw it in. And I'd like you to breathe to lengthen your spine, lift the crown of your head and draw your chin in slightly. So breathe in, find length, and exhale to rotate as much as is comfortable around a neutral spine. I say neutral, not straight. Spines are never straight unless we're babies. They have natural curves in them. Neutral means we maintain the natural kyphotic and lordotic curves. Kyphotic curve at the top, behind the shoulders, and lordotic curve at the bottom, behind the navel. One more breath as I ramble. And then exhale to take a counter twist. Just come through 180 degrees. So rotate the left shoulder towards the front of the room. Maybe slide your left hand down the inside of your left shin. Nice. And then come back to center. And we'll set up for cow face. So see if you can move your knees a little closer together. Maybe you need to sit up onto a block. You can straighten through your right leg if you wish to. Inhale to lift your heart. Now, if you've got a really strong practice, you can take reverse namaste behind your back, or just grab forearms behind your back. Or if, like me, you like to take it nice and gentle, just exhale to walk your hands forwards and melt your chest towards your inner left thigh. And experience the stretch that comes through the outer thighs and all the way around the back of the glutes into piriformis. All the beautiful secondary stretches moving through the rest of your body as much as you wish to comfortably allow them to go. Always exercising your choice to feel your way into your practice. How much is right for you today? Couple more breaths here. Just letting it lengthen. Getting into some really, really tight muscles now. For most of us, these are muscles we rarely stretch. So don't be judgmental if you find yourself not going as deep as you may wish to or maybe used to in the past. Just go as much as feels comfortable today. And maybe even a little less for one more breath. And gently unravel yourself, de-pretzel yourself, be slow and kind with yourself, and take downward facing dog. And maybe bend your right knee and your left knee if they're a little stiff. Sometimes there's a little bit of block chi energy somewhere in the meridians. We can just move a little to loosen that. And then inhale your left leg up towards the sky, three-legged dog. So you're switching on your left bum cheek. And you're quite happy to do this without lifting your left hip. Nice. Then exhale to draw your left knee in towards your chest and push the ground away. And go ahead and step your foot between your hands and feel that stretch opening up through your right hip. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? And if it doesn't, you've gone too deep. It should always feel good. Nice. Gently lower your right knee onto the ground. And then maybe use your left hand to push your left knee outwards. Get a stretch through the inner left thigh. Maybe. You don't have to. If it's not comfortable, don't do it. And whatever you chose to do, just find that range and then maybe reach your left hand forwards and inhale. Remember, we just opened up through the chest space, so this should be easy to rotate your left arm towards the back of the mat and come into twisted thigh stretch. Maybe you get a hold of your right foot. Maybe you modify and let it go. Maybe you keep your left arm on the inside of your left knee. Whatever it is that you choose to do, make sure that you're finding your range. Remember, I'm just a guide. You're in control of the vehicle. Nice long breaths. You'll notice I'm modifying quite a bit today. Good. Then if you're holding your right foot, just gently release your right foot back to the ground and rotate your left hand all the way back towards the front of the mat and place both hands on the floor. And we'll set up for half pigeon on the other side. If you need to modify, please feel welcome to lie onto your back and bend your right knee and use it to draw your left ankle towards your chest. Otherwise, just walk your left foot towards your right ankle, your right wrist, sorry, and lower your left knee down somewhere behind your left wrist. Be careful with your body, be gentle with your body, let it express its range of motion to you. Don't tell it where it has to go. Maybe you inhale both hands towards the sky, maybe you don't. As you exhale, lower as far as you wish to into this pose. Maybe you rest your head onto a block, forehead is comfortably rested onto a block or a pillow or whatever you have. Your hands, the ground. And then give yourself a little space to open out through the left glute muscles. Allow your breathing to soften and open deep inside. Yogic breathing encourages this 4-4 breath, inhaling for 4 and exhaling for 4. And when we do this, we consciously reduce our breathing rate. So although we're taking longer breaths, we take fewer breaths per minute. Changing the pace and ratio of the breathing to make it more conscious. And when we do this, we give ourselves space to relax and open up, let go, and be present. Just by breathing through the nose, we start to clean the air that moves into the lungs. If you open your mouth and breathe into your lungs, you will just suck in everything that's in front of you. All the dust, all the pollen, the dryness of the air, any pathogens, any viruses, straight in. If you breathe through your nose, you have a natural filtering system consisting of the tiny hairs in your nose, mucus that lines the internal pipes, a surface area that warms it, moistens the air before it gets to your lungs. Your sinuses produce a little bit of nitric oxide that also cleanses and cleans viruses before they get to your lungs. I'm not saying that breathing through your nose is some sort of magical barrier to crazy things like coronavirus, but what I am saying is that if you breathe through your nose, you give yourself every chance to naturally breathe the cleanest air you can. Gently inhale to walk your hands underneath your shoulders and settle your left hip this time towards the ground or a block, and helicopter your right leg until it moves so you can bring your right foot just beyond your left knee. Remember, straighten your left knee if this is too much. Good. Lengthen through your spine so you're not dropping into the sagittal plane, and place your right hand behind your back and press the fingertips into the floor, and inhale your left hand right up towards the sky as much as you comfortably wish to extend. And then exhale to draw your left elbow to the top of your right knee. Remember, you can wrap your arm around the outside of your knee if that's easier, but try not to let that to encourage you to slouch forwards. Inhale, find a bit of length, and exhale, rotate around Remember that neutral spine. So you're maintaining the natural curves, but lengthening by lifting the crown of the head and drawing the right shoulder back. Getting a really nice rotation around your transverse plane whilst lengthening through the outer hips. Because you twist the body, you kind of begin to squeeze and rinse the internal organs, squishing out some of the toxins. Twists are so important, and we rarely do them in normal life. One more big breath in, and use the power of the expanding lung to massage the inside of your torso. Good, and then as you exhale, rotate and come through a counter twist. Just slide your right arm down the inside of your right shin. Try not to drop your head. Keep your spine long, strong, neutral. Big range of movement. And then come back to center, and we'll get ready for cow face on the other side. So draw your knees together as much as they'll comfortably go. Maybe you straighten out your left leg. Maybe you sit up onto a block. Whatever it is that you need to do. Maybe you join arms behind your back if that's comfortable. Or like me, maybe you wish to just walk your fingertips forwards out in front of you. Draw your navel in and up and draw your chest towards your inner right thigh. And allow those big muscles around the outside of your hips and thighs to lengthen and soften and find a little natural range. Just breathe. Couple more breaths. Letting go. Your choice. Good. Then gently begin to release and de-pretzel yourself. And go ahead and straighten your legs out nice and careful. Be kind of compassionate with your legs. You've just asked quite a lot of them. Be gentle. And take your ankles as wide as you can. Comfortably take them. If you go beyond comfort, come back in a little. I'm going to take a final forward fold to stretch through the inner thighs. I need you to draw your toes in towards your hips so you're strong through the back line of your legs. Draw your belly in. Lift your heart up energetically through your throat so your spine is long and strong and neutral. Take a breath, and as you exhale, walk your hands forwards and begin to lower the lower ribs towards the ground. So don't drop your forehead down. Don't attempt to draw your forehead to the ground. Lift your chest and your heart forward through your throat, and then walk the lower ribs towards the ground. How close they come doesn't matter. We're looking for your range, remember? Whatever is comfortable to you. Whatever is comfortable to you. Keep the toes active, so the toes are drawing back towards the hips to protect through the back of the legs. So you're finding this strengthening and lengthening of the hamstrings, the inner thighs, the low back, across the back of your shoulder blades. Belly is drawing in and up to maintain Uddiyana Bandha. The core is strong. You're getting this full length radiating from the center of your being all the way out to just beyond the extent of your physical body. Breathe. You're doing so well. Your body will thank you for your kindness and your compassion. It does so much work for you all by itself, but sometimes you can give it a little help. And your practice is one way of doing just that. Practice with compassion for yourself.
And you can practice with compassion for every other soul. Gently inhale, walk your hands back up. Well done, yogis. We're going to come into Shavasana now. I'm going to say something in Sanskrit that will hopefully make you smile, and then we can drift into a really nice resting posture. The time will cross the end of 11:30, but I encourage you, because you're at home, you've got no travel time from the studio. It's one of the benefits of lockdown. You can stay in your Shavasana a little longer and be kind to your body. Take a gentle breath in and lower yourself down onto the ground. And draw your knees into your chest and give yourself one of those compassionate squeezes. We'll take a supine twist both ways. So take your arms super wide of your body and lower both knees, or one knee, or whatever is comfortable, towards the left edge of your mat. You're stretching through the right side of your body and melting your right shoulder onto the ground and just letting gravity do all of the work. Please don't try, just let gravity work it. Maybe use your left hand to just steady your right leg if that feels comfortable. But don't question it too much. Just breathe and feel gravity. And let go. Let go. And then gently exhale your knees into your chest and move your hips if you need to keep your spine neutral, and move your knees over to the right edge of your mat. And lower down and let go, let go, let go. Lengthen through the left side of your body. All those muscles can soften. Good. Draw your knees back into your chest and wrap your arms around your shins if you wish to. It's always a choice. One more time. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe even smile inwardly at how much you've done for yourself. Well done. Gently release your legs onto the ground. Getting ready for your final resting pose, Shavasana. Now I'm going to talk you into Shavasana for about the next 2 minutes. And then I invite you to stay in your Shavasana for as long as you can afford, generously giving yourself the space to relax and absorb your practice. Gently widen your ankles and rest your legs onto the ground. Let the feet flop outwards. Widen your hands and let the arms rest onto the ground. Let the palms face upwards. Gently walk your shoulder blades together and draw your chin in slightly so you get a lengthening through the back of your neck. Find